Welcome to our channel. Today, we're going to take you on a thrilling journey into one of the greatest mysteries in human history, the legend of the lost city of gold, also known as El Dorado. This is a tale filled with ambition, betrayal, unimaginable riches, and the unbreakable spirit of explorers who dared to chase the impossible. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear will take you deep into the heart of the Amazon, across treacherous rivers, and into the minds of those who risked everything for the dream of gold. Our story begins in the early 16th century, when the Spanish Empire was at the height of its power. Fresh from conquering the mighty Inca Empire in Peru, Spanish conquistadors were drunk with dreams of wealth. Gold had poured into their hands in quantities they had never imagined, but greed is a hunger that's never satisfied. Rumors began to spread among the indigenous peoples of South America. They spoke of a land far to the north, hidden deep in the jungles, where a king covered himself in gold dust each morning, bathed in a sacred lake, and offered treasures to the gods at its bottom. This king's city, they said, was made of gold. The Spanish gave this place a name, El Dorado, meaning the golden one. But the legend quickly grew. El Dorado was no longer just a man, but an entire kingdom overflowing with wealth beyond imagination. And so began the fever, a madness that would last for centuries. One of the first to be consumed by the legend was Gonzalo Pizarro, half-brother to Francisco Pizarro, the conqueror of the Inca Empire. In 1541, Gonzalo set out from Quito, Ecuador, with hundreds of soldiers, thousands of native porters, and a small army of dogs and horses. They hacked their way through dense jungle, crossed roaring rivers, and climbed treacherous mountains, searching for this golden kingdom. But nature itself seemed to rise against them. Disease, starvation, and attacks by hostile tribes reduced their numbers to a desperate few. Among Pizarro's men was a soldier named Francisco de Orellana. During the expedition, Orellana became separated from Pizarro's main force and decided to continue eastward down a massive river, the one we now call the Amazon. His journey became legendary in its own right, but he found no city of gold. By the time the survivors staggered back to civilization, El Dorado had claimed its first major victims. Yet the legend did not die. If anything, the failures of others only made the myth grow stronger. Part of the story's power came from its roots in real indigenous traditions. The Muisca people, who lived in what is now Colombia, had a ritual that may have inspired the entire legend. When a new ruler was crowned, he would be covered from head to toe in gold dust. Then, aboard a raft, he would sail to the center of Lake Guatavita. There, he would wash the gold from his body into the water, offering it to the gods along with emeralds and other treasures. Spanish chroniclers who witnessed this ceremony were stunned, and quickly imagined that if such wealth was offered to the gods, then the people must possess even greater riches in their cities. Soon, Spanish expeditions were sent specifically to drain Lake Guatavita, convinced its muddy bottom hid a fortune. In the late 1500s, crews used buckets, wooden shovels, and even attempted to cut channels to lower the lake's water level. They recovered golden ornaments, jewelry, and precious stones, proof enough to keep the dream alive, but never the vast treasure they had hoped for. Then came one of the most famous seekers of El Dorado, Sir Walter Raleigh. Raleigh was no ordinary adventurer. He was a favorite of Queen Elizabeth I, a poet, a soldier, and a man whose ambition was matched only by his charm. By the late 1500s, England and Spain were locked in a bitter global rivalry for power and wealth. Raleigh believed that if he could find El Dorado, it would make him rich beyond imagination and give England a stronghold in the New World to challenge Spain's empire. In 1595, Raleigh sailed across the Atlantic to the coast of present-day Venezuela. His ships battled storms and treacherous waters before arriving at the mouth of the Orinoco River. From there, Raleigh and his men pushed inland, navigating through dense forests, narrow channels, and swarms of insects. Indigenous tribes spoke of a great city of gold somewhere far to the south, beyond rivers and mountains, hidden in lands no European had yet mapped. But like all before him, Raleigh never found the city. Instead, he returned to England with vivid descriptions of rich lands and friendly tribes, and, more importantly, with a story grand enough to keep the legend alive. In his published account, Raleigh claimed that El Dorado was in a kingdom called Manoa, located beside a vast lake in the heart of the continent. His words reignited the fever for gold across Europe. Nearly 20 years later, after falling out of favor with King James I, Raleigh convinced the king to let him lead one final expedition. The agreement was simple: if he found gold, England would prosper; if he failed, he would face the consequences. This second journey in 1617 was doomed from the start. Raleigh was old, ill, and desperate. His men fought not only the jungle, but also Spanish forces in the region. In a disastrous battle along the Orinoco, Raleigh's son was killed. With no gold to show for his efforts and Spain demanding justice for the attack, Raleigh returned home in disgrace. True to his word, King James had him executed in 1618. Even Raleigh's death did not end the legend. Through the 17th and 18th centuries, countless others ventured into South America in search of El Dorado. Some sought it for glory, others for greed, and many simply for the thrill of the unknown. Each returned with tales of strange cities, golden ornaments, and mysterious civilizations, but never with proof. In 1804, the famous German explorer Alexander von Humboldt journeyed through Venezuela and Colombia, visiting many of the places tied to the El Dorado legend. A man of science, Humboldt concluded that the story was a mix of truth and myth, inspired by the gold-rich cultures of the Muisca, the Inca, and other native peoples. Yet even he admitted that the vast jungles and remote lakes could still hide secrets. Modern archaeology and satellite mapping have revealed ancient cities, vast road networks, and massive earthworks hidden beneath the Amazon canopy. We now know that before European contact, millions of people lived in complex societies across the rainforest. Could one of these have inspired the tale of a golden kingdom? Or could something even greater still lie undiscovered? Some believe Lake Guatavita still holds the key. Over the centuries, many attempts have been made to drain it again, using everything from wooden buckets to massive cuts in its banks. Gold artifacts have been recovered, proof of the Muisca rituals, but no vast treasure has ever been found. Others think El Dorado was never meant to be a literal city of gold, but a symbol, a story about the unimaginable wealth of the Americas, told and retold until it became legend. And yet, there are still those who believe. To them, somewhere in the depths of the Amazon, beyond the reach of maps and machines, lies a city whose walls shine under the sun, waiting for the first brave soul to find it. The truth is, El Dorado is more than just a place. It is the dream that drove men into the unknown, the obsession that made them risk everything, and the reminder that sometimes, the journey is more powerful than the treasure itself. Even today, as satellite images pierce the jungle and archaeologists uncover lost civilizations, the mystery remains. The City of Gold may never be found, but the legend will never die. If you enjoyed this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more tales of lost worlds, legendary treasures, and secrets of the past. Your support helps us keep uncovering the stories that time tried to forget.